It's already difficult buying real estate off market from a single seller. Imagine working with two owners that don't get along, actually hate each other, and make this process extremely difficult. Despite all of it, we got it done and went to closing. In this video, we're gonna cover all the steps we took in buying a multifamily property in Roxbury and how it reflects everything we covered on the REI Beginner series. If you guys haven't watched those videos, we'll put a link above. Go check it out. For now, let's jump into it. So this lead in Roxbury came to us years ago. It's not a phone call that we got recently. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago that someone called us after getting a direct mail piece. I want to go back to the mindset with you guys. It all starts there. And this property wasn't easy. It's going to be a great deal for us. It's probably going to be one of our best deals this year, but it had multiple challenges. And when we got the property under agreement, we thought about it and what we had to overcome. So the problem with this property is that we had two sellers who first they don't like and don't get along at all, but they also have different price expectations and they have different timeline expectations. So how do you deal with someone like that and how do you get this deal to closing? So the solution for us was to reach out to our network. In this case was our attorney who advised us that we could have two contracts and treat these two sellers completely separately. So have two deeds and negotiate with them totally separate. So that made a huge difference. That advice really got us to closing because we were able to negotiate the price and timeline very, very different between those two sellers. But guys, the most important thing when it comes to mindset is that you can give up on a property like this very easy. For us, it took years to get this done with a follow-up and all that and reaching out to our network. But also the fact that we really wanted this deal and we're ready to be creative and do everything possible. Our mindset made a huge difference here. We didn't give up, we got it to closing and we overcame any issues that came our way. But guys, it was definitely because of how our commitment into this deal and our network, that made the difference. So guys, the reason why this deal is unique is not only the ownership dispute and the fact that the siblings that owned it didn't get along, but also the fact that we couldn't really meet them face to face. One of them lived out of state, the other one was here in Boston, but she didn't want to sit down with us. So all the negotiations on this deal happened on the phone. So that made it a lot more difficult for us to negotiate, build rapport, and understand the situation 100%, right? It's a lot easier if you are sitting down with somebody, getting the real data and information, and it's much harder on the phone. It goes back to the mindset that you just got to overcome that challenge and find a solution, and that's what we did here. We found out that the problem for them was one, an aunt and an uncle lived in the units, right? It's a 3-family building. Uncle lived on the 2nd floor, aunt on the 3rd floor. I believe one unit was empty. But they didn't want to give them notice. They didn't want to tell them that they were selling. And they wanted us to buy the property without even notifying them. That was one problem. The other problem was the fact that we couldn't really go inside. They said we don't have keys, you can go door knock, you can go on the inside, you just got to buy it sight unseen. Most people would have walked away because it's just already too complicated. The way we thought at that time is if we can get it for a decent price, we can probably fix all those issues. We can probably do cash for keys with the tenants. We can do a full gut renovation on the interior and fix it up. So we realized that price was the most important factor here. Once we figure out price, we said, you know what? If you can sell for X, then we'll inherit tenants. 2, we said we're gonna figure out the issue with the other owner of the property and we'll get them to close as well. 3, buy as is without even seeing the inside. Those are huge problems, guys, that we solved. Like most investors would have walked away. Listing this on the MLS wouldn't have worked because most buyers are not going to deal with this stuff, right? We overcame the challenge. We figured out the solution to them, gave the seller a huge benefit by solving this puzzle for them and these problems, but we picked up a great deal. So guys, let's talk about exit strategy. This property, with all its challenges, still has multiple exit strategies. We could have closed on it and then wholesale it. If we are wholesaling it, we need to notify tenants and give them maybe cash for keys for them to vacate. That would be ideal. Go in there and clean all the junk and then put it on the market as is without doing any repair. So that would be a wholesale. You can fix and flip it as a 3-family, where you go in, renovate, put it back on the market, and make a profit, or you can do a development. You can take a 3-family, convert it to 3 units, and sell it for a profit. I didn't want to bring up wholesaling on this one because you have tenants, you have a lot of different issues with sellers, so it's going to be more complicated. So I wouldn't even think of wholesaling this particular property. The last thing, and what we decided to do, it's actually close on it with the intention of keeping it long-term as a rental. You guys have probably noticed this. There's a pattern here on my recent videos where properties that we like in great locations, we tend to keep long-term. I strongly believe in building wealth through real estate investing, and owning units, owning doors, owning real estate is definitely the best way to do that. This one is going to be a BRRRR strategy for us. If you guys are not familiar with that word, I'll put a video up there because I've done more content talking about the BRRRR strategy. But basically it's the buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Bigger pockets, most likely Brendan Turner came up with the term. It's extremely popular and people are doing it all over the States, but it's difficult here in Boston. And it's difficult because it's expensive to buy in Boston. We got lucky, and I think we got lucky because we worked hard, but by having that winning mindset and working hard on solving problems, we got a smoking deal up front. And by buying it right, by buying this property at a discount, we now can do the BRRRR strategy. Let me break that down. Purchase price, $450,000. Renovation cost on this property is in the range of $500,000 and an ARV of $1.4 million. That's an ARV as a 3-family. Now, if you sell them as condos, you are probably going to look at an ARV of 1.6 million, so even more. Our plan right now, we own the building, we are halfway through renovations. We're going to rent it out, and this building will bring about $10,000 in rent every month. At that point, once we got tenants in there, we're going to go and refinance with a local lender. I already shared with you the purchase price and the rehab cost, and the fact that we're going to be all in at about $1 million. When we refinance with a bank at $1.4 million, they're going to do what's called a loan-to-value refinance. So they know it's worth 1.4, and they're going to give us a loan for 70 or 75% of the appraised value. That's the best part, because we're going to get all the money back. So we're going to get a loan in the range of $1 million, which will cover all our expenses and our acquisition price. So we pretty much are not going to be in this deal with a lot of money, which make this an amazing investing, and we can take the money out, right, and invest on the next deal. So that's how you grow and you buy more multifamily unit, by doing a BRRRR strategy. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and then the best part, repeat it, right? That's how we grow to the next level. Guys, that's all I got for you today. I hope this is helpful. I wanted to bring back the REI beginner series and really show you how it applies on a real deal. So this Roxbury 3-family was a perfect scenario. So again, I hope this is helpful to you guys. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. Let's interact there, because I definitely check those comments and reply back. And I want to invite you guys to the meetup event. We have one every month. I'll put a link below, but it's a really low-key, we hang out. It's a networking event, and just learning from each other, making connections. There are deals that are shared in the room. So if you are in the real estate space in the greater Boston area, you gotta come join me there. All right, see you guys in the next one.